So I'll create a Java project. I'll just call it Pali. Finish. Then I'll look at architecture. When I come inside, I'll create my package. I'll create 3 packages. 2 com.aiti dot pali dot ui. Oh, that's the class name, sorry. Package. Then the first class, I'll just create maybe Pali UI. I will extend JFrame. I'm building the UI straight away. So finish. So this will be my UI user interface. So let me build my user interface. First, I'm just taking an input, displaying a status, then a button. So I'll need a panel. I'll need a panel. I'll need a JTest field. Then just one. I'm taking one input. Then a label, JLabel for LBL input. Then what else? Another label for display. Then I need a button. BTN. Check. Let me proceed. The rest will come as and when I need them. So there is it. I'll create my work. As with frame, always you initialize your stuff in what? Your constructor. So I give it a name. Pali. Then here I initialize the stuff. So PNL is equal to new. Let me go by the other approach where I create a private method, void init. Then I will initialize these guys. But before I even start initialize, let me call it init so that I modelize my codes. So PNL is equal to new panel TST is equal to new JTest field, set the size to 20. LBL display is equal to new label status. LBL input is equal to new JLabel. Then I said enter a word to check, or just enter a word. Then what else? The button BTN is equal to new J button. I give it a name, check. So I've initialized this component down here. Now when I come here, I'll set the properties. So I want the flow layout. I'll just use grid layout. So I'll just say set layout new grid layout. I'll just do it 3 by 2. Three by 2. I'm setting the layout onto the panel. so that I can add them onto the panel. Then I'll start adding the components. So panel dot add. First I'll add the what? The label. So LBL, not the display, but input. Panel dot add test field. So tst input panel dot add usually the same tst, they all test. It's just the output which is different. Now we've added the input this. Then the next row I'll add what? The display, label, display, then panel dot add btn. So I've added these guys. Let me add a panel onto the stuff. So add panel. So I've added a panel. Then let me set the properties of the frame. So set size, set size, set set visible true, set nothing. Okay, now let me give my class a main method. So I'll just call it that class run. That's my test class. So new Pali UI. I run it and see what I get. It's not virus. Enter a word. Okay. So at least I have something, even though it's too big. So you enter something, then I'll check. Then if it's palindrome, it will tell me yes or what, no here. Okay, so I've done the small UI. Let me add the what? Action listener to it. I can do this thing in separate classes, but this is not any huge project. So implement action listener. Then I'll use the button. So I'll just say when I click on the button, but before that, let me bind the button onto what? The action listener. So btn dot set add action listener. This means look inside the class. There's what? An action perform method, or the class implements an action listener. There are more than one, then you specify the one you want. A class can only implement one action listener, but it can have inner ones, inner classes. So you can pass those ones to it. And a component can be binded to more than one action listener. I can just create like this one. I'll just say private action listener, listen. Then I'll create an anonymous class down here. So listen so equal to new action listener. The new action listener. Then maybe I'll just load. Oh, okay, let me just do it. So save to file. So I'll save to file here, whilst the other one will check something. So here I can also button check dot what add action listener. Then I pass the listening to it. So one component is binding to two separate what listeners. They all work on it according to the order in which it was binded. Now that's when you are binding it to more than one component. This one is one component to one to many. No, one component to multiple listener. Several components to one listener. That's the reason get source, like we did in the calculator one. So now there's it. It's left with a saving onto the file and doing what? Checking whether it's what? Palindrome. So there are so many options going inside my head to write a different class or put everything in one class, which is not the best. So I'll create a class for it. Always try to make sure your codes are smaller. Process Pali. Then the process Pali, I'll create a method to write to the file. So public, when I write to the file, I want to return boolean save word. I'll give it a parameter later. Return, at the moment, return false. Read word. Then check word. So I'll save the word, read it. Then I check word. Now, for the saving, I need the name of the file and what I want to save. So I'll just pass this on file, source, comma, string, word. Let me make a full screen. I have to import the file, which I've done. So to read the word to, so since I'm reading, I need to return what? The word I read. So I'll change the type to string. Then when I'm reading, I still need a file. So file, source, then I return it. Then to check a word, the read will return me the string. So I just need a word and the result from the read. So to check the word, I need a string. I don't want to input text. Okay. Input. I don't want to use the same word to confuse you. So this one return boolean true or false, and this one will save the word, and this one read the word. So now let's do the logic. To save onto a file, it's very simple. To save onto a file is very simple. Since this we are storing characters, there's no need going for the stream. You can do with the stream, but there's no point in it. Use the right class for the right job. So this is a characters. You need what? Readers and writers. So file, we are saving. So file writer is equal to new file writer, and it takes a file. So I'll pass the source to it. I need to put it in a try catch. As you all know what a try catch is. Then file writer dot what? I'll go and clean. Right. Now there are so many overload. Character array, string. I just want to write a string straight away. So that's the word. The word which comes. So I clear this guy. So this is it. But this will not write until you what? You close it. This on the buffer. So if you don't close it, you don't see the effect. So file writer dot close. So this has been written. Now once it's written, I'll just return true, or let me just create some status here. So private boolean status is equal to false. Then I'll set the status to what? To true here. So this is all saving onto the file. Just 3 lines. And it took you 3 hours. Feel free. Yes. Because you're opening a file. The last time I talked about caught and uncaught exceptions. Caught and uncaught exceptions. This file opening is one of the uncaught exceptions. You don't specifically use the throw keyword, but the compiler checks for you. When you open a file, it might happen that a file does not exist. So Java is so smart that you should not wait for it to not exist before it will tell you. During the compilation, it will tell you that as you are using this class, you must what? Put it in what? Try catch. The implementation of this file might have has done throws file handler exception. So anytime you use it, you must put it in a try catch. Even though you've not seen the error, but you must put it inside. So this is my saving status. Saving a word. Now to read from the file to, I will need a source, then I return whatever is read. So the same thing, file reader is equal to new file reader, pass the source to it. Then surround with try catch. Then file read dot. You look at the methods. This one reads into a what? A character array. So this one is expecting what? A character array. It doesn't take a string. So you pass the character array. So you need to create a character array. This is the only place you are using it, so there's no point in putting it up there. So let me just create it here. Char data then I'll just pass the data here. So it will read this onto this. It will be asking for add. If you've already surrounded your block with try catch, you don't have to surround it again. You just add what? Catch clause. So I've added a catch clause. So there's an error. Okay, I have to initialize the variable to now. Okay. So now there's my reading. Now this character, but I want to return what? A string. This character, I want to return a string. So that's how I go by it. Since let me use what I know so that we move faster. I'll create a string builder. I know a string builder has a method that takes a char. So string builder or buffer build is equal to one is synchronized and one is what? Unsynchronized. One is old and one is new. They all have the same methods. The border is the new one. Buffer builder. So new. Then this one takes what? Character sequence or string. I'll pass the string to it. At the moment, I don't have any string yet. So I'll create another string. String returned data. Then I'll pass the return data to it. Then here, I will say build dot append. You can see it appends what? A character array. So I'll append what? The character array here, which is what? this data. So data is now stored in the character header we created here. Then I'll append it to what? This border before I convert it to what? The string. So I just do return data, no, not the data, return data is equal to bold dot to string. So I'll cast this one to this. Then when I come here, I'll return the return data. So I read from the file. I know the read method takes only what? Character array. So I store the result in what? Character array. Then I pass the character into what? A border to bold it for me, or a buffer to buffer it for me. And after that, I convert that one back to what? The string. Then I'll return the string to whoever calls this method. Now let's come to the check. So for the check, we already have this method reading and what? Returning the what? The word for us. So I'll just call that method. To call it, I need to provide a file. So because I'll be calling it inside this one, I'll be adding a file here so that I don't need to call it up there. So file source, then I'll just say read, then I'll pass the source to it. And I know the read returns what? A string. Okay, use the same file. Yeah, there's no point in taking it again. I've already taken it up there and sent it. So it's the same file. So here, I know this one returns what? A string. So string word. So this one will be returned from what? The database. Then I'll check. Now to check if it's what? It's a palindrome, I have to reverse it. Use the reverse method to check. Did they always work on all the palindromes? The reverse, all of them. Did they work on all the palindromes? So I'll create another string border bold string border new, then I'll pass the what? The word to it. Then I'll create another string reversed word, reversed word. Then I'll just do reversed word is equal to what? Border dot reverse. So it will reverse it for me, but this is not in a string, so to string. It's a name method in string builder. We discussed it in this class. So that's the reverse method. Those I'm doing for, they are not even looking at it. They are not looking, don't worry. So now I have the reverse and I have the what? Actual word. So I'll compare. If word dot equals what? Reversed word, return true. Return, this is case sensitive. As you write into it, you are not taking a different input to compare what is there. You are just reversing what has been taken. Well, whatever you write is what we are using to compare. It's not like you already have a word in stock and you're asking you to enter to go and compare. It won't change anything. The effect, it won't change anything. Am I lost here? Uh-huh. Ah, okay, okay, okay. It's true, it's true, it's true. Ignore the case. But it's better you handle it here than going to do the conversions over there. If I get one, if Madam capital M A D M, the last one is small m, and when you reverse it, it will be different. So you always get false. So you must ignore the case so that it doesn't care about the case. So if this is equal to this, we just return true. Else return false. Or let me just use the status that I use here. Status is equal to true. Else status is equal to false. Then I return status. So I've built my backend or where my logic is. So now I can check for the word, read the word, save the word. So let's test our work so far. So we come here. Now I want these two action lists. I want one to save, then one to check. So I'll let this one do the saving. So saving into a file or the file. Saving into the file. Now to save into the file, first I need instance of the class. Remember, these guys need to be private. Always make sure you ensure what? Encapsulation. It's already private. So double security. Which one? No, by default is what? By default is what? By default is default. The package level. Private process Pali. Or let me just give it process Pali. It's still got new process Pali. So this is the process Pali, and that's what I'll be using. So when I come here, saving into the file, so process Pali dot what? Save word. Then I'll pass the source to it. So I need to create a file, right? So I'll create a file here. Private file. Then I'll go to my what? Init guy. Come initialize it here. So file is equal to new file. Then I'll call it save word .txt. Then here I need to get why the init. Oh, why the init? Anyone, the init method. Initialize all my initialization. I have a long code here. So I want to avoid that. So I'm doing everything there. I could have even moved. I've already called it. Call it even before it starts initializing. It's from experience. Sometimes I'll be coding and testing. I'm not seeing any output just because I've not called my what? Init method to come initialize it for me. And most of the IDs, or to specific NetBeans, you see a lot of this init. It initializes all those things for you. So it's just like when you move there, it will not be a new environment. You are used to what? The init what? Method. So now I have to get a file. So this one, the name is what? This file. Then the word I just want to create a string to hold it for me. So here to private string word. Then I'll just say, where do I get it? Okay, let me just get it down here. Word dot word is equal to tst dot get text dot to string, or you can just use plus double quote. It will still convert it to what? To string for you. Then I'll pass. No, it doesn't return a string. See what it returns. Okay. I keep switching between Android and this thing. Android, it doesn't return string, so there's no need to convert it to get text. Now this is how to save to the word file. This is how to save. So you save to the file. I would like this guy to do what? Do the comparison. So I've saved to the file down there. Now to do the comparison, so now which other methods are left? We read and what? We check. But the read is already used in what? The check method. So there's no need for calling the what? The read. So this makes this read method what? A candidate for what? Privacy. Privacy. Because it's only being used here. You know what you are writing. It's only being used here. So there's no need making it public. So I just call the check word here. So what's the name of process pali dot what? Check word. Then I'll pass the file to it. So let's try and see whether we get something. Why is my this one? Wow. Thousands of errors. Let's look at the errors. Cannot find the word. The file not found exception. Should be able to create it. Should be able to create it. The file writer has what? The file class. So that's when we are saving, right? So file writer source. So source dot create new file. Let's save it and run it again. I will fix this, but let me just finish with it. Still errors. Okay, that one is gone. Null pointer exception. When you get null pointer exception, what should be your first point of contact? Null pointer exception, Nana K. I'm doing it for you. That's why I don't like recording. Null pointer exception, your first point of contact. When you get null pointer exception, what should come into your head? Your references are not pointing to any object. So it's telling me line 34. Let me go there first. Line 34. File reader. Okay, it's not from there. 51. Source. Let me open the file and see. Let's go through from beginning. So we have the file source that will come. Then right word. Let me look at the error. line 34. The reading. Okay, do you know something? Let's just test it incrementally. So I'll just comment the what? The reading and check whether you've saved. So the reading is I just have to comment this guy. Run it again. So how about save? So it's saved successfully. Let me check whether it's saved. So it's saved. It's left with the reading. So go Pali. Okay. So Abba is there. So now you know you are saving. So let's go to our read method. Now when it comes to the read, Pali process, you have the read word. First you take the word. You have an array here. Then return data, string buffer which takes this. Then the read data. Is it enough? So let me uncomment it and see. This time I will not. Okay, I have to do it all over again. Doesn't matter. Okay, this time you are not getting any error. You are not displaying anything yet. You are not getting any error. So where do you know whether it's successful? This check where returns what? Boolean. So I just check if this. So if this, it means what? It is what? True. Then the status there, I'll change the text. So I just say status or LBL display dot set text. Then I'll format the text here. Status word is Pali. Else I'll just copy this guy. It's not Pali. So let's say and run it again. Abba check. Abba is not Pali. Wow. Madam. So now the code is working, but logically it's not what? Giving us the output. So if we move from the compiler and we're moving to what? Runtime. So why is it not giving us our output? So let's go and check why. So now let's go to the check method first and see. We said this one should return what? True, return status. Okay. If reverse the word, let's go through gradually. We come with the source file. We go and read from it. Now when you read from it, we store it in what? The read word. The read word returns what? Let me test out this guy and see what it brings. So read source. So I know it's I'm expecting a string. Then after we store it in a word. Then we build it. Building this word, we reverse it and store it in a reversed word. Then we compare the what? This to this. If it is true, this, else this. So why is it not? Okay, so trimming. You have to trim. Okay. This is the original word. I just read it from the source, then I'll reverse it, then I'll compare the two. I'm just processing the word stored there. So let me just format it. So this one, when I read it, I'll get a string here. So let me just do dot trim. dot. Is there any other thing I can do? Okay, let me just trim it here. Then we try and see. Let me sys out this guy too. The reversed word. Sys out reversed word. You don't understand. If you understand, you just read from the file. You format it, then you compare the two. If it's palindrome, you give it to the reverse, to the word. I take the word and store it in the word. Then give it to the reverse to reverse it. Then I'll compare the two. If they are equal, this is where the comparison is taking place. Here, the word, this is the word. This is directly read from the what? The file. Then the same word I read from the file, we are processing it. We give it to the builder to what? Build it by reversing it for us. After reversing, we take it back and compare if it's true. So let's try it and see. Okay, Abba is Pali now. My farm is Pali. Okay, not Pali. So now it's what? What did I change for it to work? Here, the trim. When I enter, it was entering. The trim is used to remove the white spaces, leading and trailing white spaces. You know white spaces? Leading and trailing. So it will trim everything and send the exact way for you. So that is the use of the trim. So let me see my sys out. So you can see it's just outputting them. So let me remove my debugging. And always in real life, when you are coding, you'll be testing for debugging. When you are sending for production, make sure you remove what? All the debugging stuffs. So that's it.